We were having a show live shots at 6 o'clock in the dark. Storm Tracker 13 Chief Meteorologist Mary Matthews joins us now with a closer look at the forecast. Mary.
You know, Bart, I saw where you posted today, this time last year, where we had a lot of snow. And I was actually talking to someone yesterday and they said, you know, it snows every Mother's Day here in Colorado. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's like my first 4 or 5 Mother's Days. And last year, the last snow date we had was June. You remember this? We were all wanting to pull our hair out, but you know, it's quick how much things change because we had no monsoon season July to October. We had a lackluster winter, and now we've got more than half of the state back under some type of drought. And we're actually going to probably go into one of our driest Mays on record or finish out. May precip so far this month, just over 1/10 of an inch. Some of that we picked up yesterday. The May precip average should be just over 2 inches, so very far from that. These are some of the previous top 3 driest Mays on record. 1927, 2008, and 1942. So very warm, very dry conditions continue across most of the state. We have those southerly winds across the area. That southerly wind is feeding into an area of low pressure that is turning here across parts of the northern panhandle of Idaho and the northern Rockies of Montana. Look how that's kind of swinging that dry air across the state and the southern mountains. That bright orange is incredibly dry air. Relative humidity levels down into the single digits. That contributes to the high fire danger alongside with these gusty winds. Look at the boundary that is contributing to some strong winds as well here across the eastern plains. All that spelling the recipe for high fire danger today. Wind gusts are still out of the west across Los Animas County, parts of Huerfano County, and on up into El Paso and Pueblo counties into the 30 to 40 mile per hour range. Not quite as strong as what we had earlier today, but the winds will continue to be on the gusty side through about 8, 9 o'clock tonight. Those red flag warnings will not expire until the winds die down. So all of these locations up in southern Colorado, with the exception of the eastern plains. Remember, that boundary is located right here. So where you have those easterly winds across Springfield, you've actually got a higher moisture content from that pulling in some moisture from the Gulf. So that helps really decrease those or increase those relative humidity levels, and really the dry air is along and west of that boundary. You'll notice as we move through the overnight hours tonight, winds are still going to be breezy at times for El Paso County, but we'll taper off with those winds after about 9, 10 o'clock for the Pikes Peak region, parts of Pueblo County. Still breezy at times across the eastern plains. We'll wake up with those northerly winds tomorrow, so it's going to feel a little chillier out there tomorrow afternoon, but beautiful day nonetheless, and temperatures a little closer to seasonal. Look at this, 60s and 70s for parts of El Paso County. We'll be into the 60s across Woodland Park, 80s across the eastern plains, so a good 10 to 15 degrees cooler tomorrow. It's going to be nice. You can maybe crack those windows and turn off the AC. Maybe I'm just speaking for myself. General thunderstorms expected tomorrow across I-25. Anything that pops will be fairly isolated. Remember, we don't have a lot of moisture to work with right now, but increasing those moisture levels tomorrow will contribute to an isolated storm or two, but most locations are still going to stay dry. It's going to be very isolated. 1 or 2 of those storms that scoots into the eastern plains will quickly ramp up, become a bit more robust, and could give us some damaging winds and the potential for hail. Let me show you how that shakes out on the forecast model as we repeat that again. Northerly winds across the area for Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, and then we start to see an increase in moisture coming into the I-25 area after about 5 o'clock. We could have a couple showers and storms pop between 5 and 9 p.m. across El Paso County, but you'll notice it is going to stay fairly isolated tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. That dry stretch of weather really continues to the end of the week. Temperatures will be surging back into the 70s and 80s on Saturday. We always know as we see those temperatures very high and then they drop back down the next day, well, that's a front pushing through, and that's what's going to happen Saturday evening, and we could see a few thunderstorms ahead of more thunderstorms Sunday that will actually start to cool the surface back down into the 60s and 70s for highs. Look at that, 80s in Colorado Springs on Saturday, then back down into the 60s. We'll talk more about your top stories, and Rob will be back with your sports coming up next.